divided hip hop? Hey Rocky, we gonna my mic is way over there. Hey Rocky, we gonna talk about who divided hip hop. You want to talk about this? Nigga Rocky hungry. He saw brought some treats in here. Now he on my ass. Like, nigga, where them treats at? I'ma feed him the rest of these treats, and then he gonna be knocked out the rest of the show. Watch. Right, you gonna be sleep like within 10 minutes of me feeding these treats. You lazy motherfucker. Here, there you go. Rock your old lazy ass. When I finish these doggy treats, this nigga gonna be knocked out. And he gonna probably be asleep till about 6. But what's up, everybody? Who divided hip hop? We are going to talk about who divided hip hop and how this happened. I saw a clip from the Math Hoffa show. It might have been, pretty sure it was an old clip, but it was my first time seeing it. And it's an interview with like Common, Pete Rock. They're all in Math Hoffa studio. And they're talking about the conscious rap versus the gangster rap. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this division that happened in styles of music. And I'm going to give a systematic breakdown on how that developed and how that ultimately harmed all good music. We're going to talk about that. And then tonight hey, Rocky, here. Tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, what we're going to do is, let me see if I can get that thumbnail up. What we're going to do tonight, and I got this suggestion from somebody on Twitter, and I'm glad, and I forgot who that was that gave me the suggestion, but thank you for the suggestion. What we're going to do tonight is, today's the 10-year anniversary of Bernie Worrell's transition. And so we are going to do a Mixcloud / Incense and Ashtrays / Patreon. And it's going to be free on Patreon. The replay is going to be exclusively on Patreon, but the live is going to be free. And we're going to do a breakdown on the forgotten architect of P-Funk and hip hop, Bernie Worrell. We're going to do that. So that's going to be a listening party. We're going to play music. Here, Rocky. Here. That's going to be a listening party. So we're going to play Bernie Worrell's music because, like we all know, and when we do tonight's broadcast on the forgotten architect of hip hop, you're going to really see why my blood boils when I see all these people give DJs all the credit when they try to act as if the hip hop is some new thing that started in the 70s and the 80s, and they give no game on who they got it from, because they literally got it from them, because hip hop is built on sampling. And this man right here, Bernie Worrell, is a major person that was sampled a whole lot. So we're going to give him appreciation since the hip hop generation has dropped the ball. All right. So let's get it in. What's up, everybody? Chat room. I appreciate all y'all for joining. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Hey, somebody kick Larry out. I don't want Larry in here. He weak. Nah, I'm just playing. Nah, but if Larry wasn't mine, I really would ask Lady Hotep to kick him out. Because my room just got 15,000 times weaker since. What's up, Remy? I got a strong room there. I got Lady Hotep, I got Remy, got Ben, got Brandon Simple in here for live. Man, I got a dope chat room in here right now. And then I saw Larry come in there, so I was like, man, my chat room just got my chat room just got weak by 100,000 points since that nigga came in. But anyway, let's get it started. Remember, this is the last week. You have one more week left for this raffle. The Black American Music Family Tree Historical Foundation. This is from my foundation, my music foundation, to where I'm going to sign one of these and send it off. And you can get a link in the description to be a part of this. All right. So let's play some of this video for the Math Hoffa Show. And then salute to Sabby Sab. She played some of my she reviewed my Clive Davis Whitney Houston part. And I really like her channel. So salute to Sabby Sabs for reviewing that. But today we're gonna review this. This is the conversation that we're talking about. And it was a good conversation. This was a good conversation. This was a really good conversation. So what we gonna do is, oh crap. I forgot. Sometimes people don't want you playing their videos. Well, I'm gonna take a chance. I'm gonna take a chance anyway. And I'm going to play this video. And we're gonna talk about, this is a great video. They're talking about why they started arguing with each other. What caused this cultural divide in hip hop? Why did we start arguing with each other? Let me speed this up and then let's get it going. Let me speed this up. Playback speed. Boom. All right, let's go.
Is there a thing where the duality of hip hop, there's some people who choose this side, some people who choose this side, and it's just going to be a back and forth concept?
Man, you know, I think that was one of the things that actually, man, kind of hurt the culture in certain ways, hurt hip hop, was that we were like, man, you got to be gangster, or you got to, like, we started getting categorized.
Right.
And man, cause I really loved N.W.A. and I loved like King T and Compton's Most Wanted, and I really loved Alcoholics. I really loved it, you know, like I said, the New York shit, and then OutKast and Goody Mob. So I think when they started being like, okay, man, this is gangster rap and that's all you can do, or making it like, okay, just because you did one song or even a project that got gangster, that's now that you label as gangster. Cause I point blank was labeled just as a conscious nigga at a certain point, like, yo, it's just conscious.
But you didn't start like that.
Right, I didn't start like that. And then, you know, as I evolved, I was like, man, okay, as a conscious artist, I still like to make these songs. I make these songs, like, that's a lot to me. It's like, I'm a black man, I'm a whole human being.
Right.
And I got lots of,
Did you feel like you was pushed?
That's the part I want to start with right there. We're gonna play more of the video. We're gonna play more of the video. Because I actually want to I had to make some screenshots of the video so I could put over the video, just so I don't get a strike or nothing like that. But anyway, that's the part I wanted to start at. Common says something real. And we have to remember, our music culture is very rich and it reflects who we are as a Black American culture. It's just been corrupted by the industry. And I keep telling y'all the Harvard Report. The book, the Harvard Report. Get that book. And if you look on this channel, look up D.W.A. B., Dr. Logan Westbrooks. If one of my mods can pull that interview up, I interviewed the man who wrote the book, The Harvard Report. Dr. Logan Westbrooks, the first Black head of a major record label in America. When he worked for CBS. Yes, the same CBS Clive Davis worked for. So I interviewed the author, so that's where I get the information. But I read that book before I interviewed him, so I knew which questions to ask. And if you pull up that interview, you'll see where we talked about it. He talked about how the music industry started to go mainstream and really start pushing messaging out over the pursuit of sales. We talked about it from that point with Dr. Westbrooks. Dr. Westbrooks didn't get into the other political stuff. I connected that to Clive Davis, because after Clive Davis had that payola arrest, he came back a different Clive Davis than the Clive Davis pre-payola arrest. And what you've been seeing with the Kissinger report, with Kissinger and all those guys, they got together to corrupt the music. Dewan, it's just music. Why does it need to be corrupted? Let me answer that for you, because I'm so glad you asked. It needs to be corrupted because sound is the only involuntary sense. And musical frequencies create patterns in your mind. And music teaches you how to operate. It teaches you how to live life. How do I know this? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, X, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. You never going to forget that song. And I sing it every time I need to know what letter comes before the next letter. I'll be like, what comes after T? That's how, to this day, I figure out which letter goes where, because I'm dyslexic as hell. That's how powerful song is. And song teaches you, informs you on what to do and how to operate. So if you want, people always say, oh, America is so divided. Why is it so divisive? Well, that's one of the answers, dummy. Not calling y'all dumb. But we gotta ask, there's only cause and effect. You gotta see the cause and effect relationship with everything. So in a country that we know likes people divided by economic class, divided by race, the thing that can override all that programming is what? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, music. You want to learn something, put it in a song. That's why the ice cream truck songs were lynching music. Because they was even training the kids. Let's put this lynching song in the ice cream truck. And ice cream was invented by black Americans in America. American ice cream was invented by black people. But the ice cream truck has slave music on. So it can bring up something in your DNA and theirs. You want to keep people divided, put it in the music. That's the why. You think this country could be divided if people are dancing on the same beat? Hell no. So anyway, let's keep going. Hit the like. Hit the like button, please. And let me change some, put it on groove. Let me put some good music. There we go. I need a background, some good background music. So that's the historical context. Now let's bring it back to now. Who divided hip hop? When you listen to Common Talk, we who we are culturally, musically, we're all of it. The Black American invented all of the popular music in America. And all derivatives of American music comes from Black American farms, ghettos, plantations, churches, parties, and so on and so forth. We've been socially engineered into being focused on this one thing in music. If you notice, pay attention to most of the media. Hip hop is synonymous with black. Hip hop and sports. Look at the Young Turks, TYT Sports. They ain't never talking about sports, just black people. The hip hop, TMZ hip hop. TMZ hip hop is just talking about black people. Ain't even talking about people, some of the artists they talking about ain't even hip hop. We've been sort of socially engineered, and that was through this division. And it came in a lot when they started talking about gangster rap versus dance rap. And in the early days, a lot of that is gangster rap's fault, and message music fault, because I remember even Ice Cube, Ice Cube is my absolute favorite. That's my GOAT, Ice Cube. But even Ice Cube on America's Most Wanted came in talking about on Death Certificate. He said, you ain't gonna see me on stage with 10,000 niggas trying to outdance each other. He was talking about MC Hammer. Like, nah, this is gangster rap. We ain't Too Short. We ain't doing all that dancing stuff. So you saw in the early days of hip hop, the gangster side was clowning the dancers, and they clowned the early gangster rap clowned the shit out of the dancers. And then the shiny suit era came, But with the shiny suit era, they didn't clown the gangsters. Because the shiny suit people were gangsters just in shiny suits. Jay-Z, Diddy, these are just gangsters in shiny suits. So they didn't clap back at the gangster side. They adopted the gangster and added the shiny suit. And then when the shiny suit got started getting up, you had people like Jay-Z, what you dropping knowledge, nigga? Clowning Nas for dropping game. The shiny suit the gangster took out the dance. The shiny suit took out the knowledge. Let's say that again. The gangster rap delegitimized dancing. Shiny suits delegitimize knowledge. Even Suge, you want somebody up here that they ain't gonna be on stage dancing all in your video. It was a gangster. Let's say that one more time. The gangster took out the dance in hip hop. The shiny suit took out the knowledge. And it did have people thinking one. And y'all remember when 50 Cent and dropped his album the same day Kanye dropped Graduation? What did 50 Cent put out that challenge? Man, if Kanye record do better than mine, man, I'm gonna go ahead and retire from rapping. That was a fight between Gangster and Backpack. Backpack ultimately just kept backpacking on. Although a lot of backpack rappers like shunning the name Backpack, it is what it is. You niggas is the backpack rappers. Take it. But when Kanye won out over 50, that for the most part ended the gangster rap. In New York, you East Coast niggas don't take enough credit for y'all gangster rap. Schoolie D, 50 Cent, Biggie Smalls. Y'all like coming in acting like, oh, the West Coast came with a gangster rap and oh, that just ended it all. No, nigga, y'all joined in too. The hell you think 50 Cent was? That's why he had to come out here to the West to get it done. But everybody was into that. The South had gangster and lean rap, Lil Wayne. That was still, the gangster element stayed and it just moved throughout regions and manifested itself within alignment of the region. That's what gangster rap did. And then it devolved a step further, and the devolution of gangster rap is drill. That's the devolving of gangster rap. Yeah, Mobb Deep, Cool G rap. I'm always having to listen to these niggas talking about something, especially New York. Man, it's the West Coast. Man, that just killed it all, man. That just killed it all. What if it killed hip-hop, then why in the hell did y'all adopt gangster? Huh? Why didn't y'all stick with LL Cool J style? Nas was the hottest rapper on the planet before Biggie. Biggie blew up because Biggie was talking gangster shit over West Coast beats. You New Yorkers could have held stronger like, nah. That's some West Coast shit, man. We sticking with Nas. Y'all had that option. You didn't take it. And give Above the Law the credit for gangster, for the G-Funk. That's above the law for the G-Funk beats. It's like they never tell the whole story. Man, the West Coast did this. Well, you adopted it, nigga. You could have killed it if you stuck with Nas. You could have killed it if you stuck with De La Soul. You could have killed it if you stuck with Tribe Called Quest. It was all kinds of some great fucking rap out of New York at that time. You niggas got behind Biggie. You niggas got behind Diddy, incorporating the gangster with the shiny suit. So y'all gotta take that L too. I mean, putting that just on the West Coast, nigga. Better get real. Chat room, am I lying? Chat room, am I lying? Or am I just running my mouth? You tell me. Let's keep going.
Pushed in the brown leather gang.
I mean, yeah. I feel like I created that too, like to a certain degree. But what I wanted to bring up was it was tough to see us separating ourselves. Like once it was like, okay, well, Common, Most Def, they in the backpack group. And then it's Jay-Z and and these cats 50 and DMX, they in the big name rappers is street. This group like street. And it was like
You know who did that? You know who did that? Vibe magazine and The Source. See, when it's pay attention to something. I want y'all to pay attention to something. The more divided hip hop got, was the more mainstream it went. The more mainstream hip hop went, this is a lie. Man, why do y'all in New York don't lie? No, Biggie his music was West Coast, the beats. Hypnotize. That's Herb Alpert, A&M Records, literally recorded in LA. Jesus, the style of beat, the style of production. Now an East Coast producer can do a West Coast style the same way a West Coast producer can do an East Coast style of music. It's all Black American music at the end of the day, so we can all jump. DJ Premier's from Texas, but he's the greatest New York producer of all time. You don't look at where the producer's from, you listen to the style of music they're producing. And if you have an ear for music, you understand that was a West Coast style of producing music for Biggie Smalls. There's nothing wrong with that. The same way there was a East Coast style of music for producing America's Most Wanted with Ice Cube. We're one Black American family. So when we talk about these nuances, it shouldn't offend you. Unless you're not part of the family. This kind of talk only offends the cousins, not the brothers and the sisters. The brothers and the sisters understand. The cousins that look like us, that may share some common ancestry a few hundred years ago, they're the ones that get mad. Yeah, one of Biggie's best demos was him rhyming over Chronic and Doggy Style type beat. Right. Yeah, Big Papa, that was a straight up West Coast style beat, the way they slowed down In Between the Sheets by the Isley Brothers. Right. Like, this is settled science. Like, they talked about Biggie rapping over West Coast style production in 1995. Like, dude. But anyway, as we get into the division in hip hop, that came in with Vibe magazine and The Source. Remember, when hip hop was in Arsenio's hand, everybody can go to Arsenio Hall. Arsenio, that's why I don't play it into a lot of division bullshit. And that's why I don't, honestly, y'all know my opinion. I don't respect a lot of hip hop artists or producers. I don't. I respect some of them, but I don't respect a lot of them. The people, at least the ones that get up and talk history. I ain't talking about the ones that stay quiet. I'm talking about the ones who actually do get up there and speak. How many times do you hear these hip hop niggas, when they talk about the explosion of hip hop, how often do you hear Arsenio Hall get credit? Is it just me, chat room? Arsenio didn't care whose coast he was from. Salute to Queen Latifah for that closeout show that Arsenio Hall did. Hip-hop blew up through Arsenio Hall. Arsenio was the first great show, nationwide show, to really put hip-hop on the map. And Arsenio was supported by Michael Jackson and Eddie Murphy. The two biggest stars on the planet still went to go see Arsenio. Prince was on Arsenio regularly. Prince, Arsenio, Michael Jackson, Eddie Murphy, Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson. The biggest black names in entertainment supported Arsenio. And that's what got Arsenio popular. And through R&B, Michael Jackson, through rock, country, and R&B, Prince, the family of music, the two biggest R&B black American music stars supported Arsenio. And Arsenio used that momentum to lift up hip-hop. Hip-hop has survived off the black American music titty since day one, and it still survives off of it, and it act like it doesn't exist. Hip-hop stayed on rhythm and blues' umbilical cord until it was 20. Nigga, funk dropped out there on the day the first song hit. Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. Funk went right into it. When funk was birthed, that shit was birthed like a giraffe. Y'all ever see a giraffe on National Geographic? That thing fall out the mama, shake his head, and get right up and start walking. Funk, disco, these derivatives of R&B, Love's Holiday, Love's Theme, 1973. The Sound of Philadelphia, 1973. Boom, by 1975, disco's the biggest shit on the planet. Funk, 1966. By 67, you got Sly and the Family Stone. By 69, you got War, the Watts 103rd Street Band, the Neville Brothers. You got all these bands, and then by 1972, 73, funk all over the place. Hip hop, 1973, and the shit was still on a goddamn umbilical cord until the 90s. And the niggas act like what came before it don't exist. That's why I don't fuck with y'all like that. I'm not talking about necessarily the people on this panel. Well, I am talking about Pete Rock. Pete Rock full of shit. Common is a good one. Common's one of the good ones. Common, Ice Cube, Snoop, they get a history to the past. Scarface. But the rest of you niggas, it was Arsenio Hall. And Arsenio, West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, the South. Arsenio didn't care where you came from. Come to LA. Get on this TV show if you good. Yeah, Arsenio was never for beef. He wasn't for the beef, man. He put it out there. Pete Rock called the police on CL Smooth at a show for selling Pete Rock and CL Smooth merch. That lets you know what kind of nigga Pete Rock is, according to what's being reported on Hot 97 by what's his name? Yeah, CL Smooth definitely deserves it. CL Smooth is a great historian. CL Smooth be dropping game. But it was this sort, is really the Source magazine and Vibe. Source and Vibe. 5 mics, 2 mics. Vibe is the one that pushed, Vibe magazine pushed the East Coast, West Coast rivalry. And the Source was the one that, remember the Source, they didn't give OutKast 5 mics. Y'all remember that? That started a whole thing when the Source didn't give OutKast the 5 mics. And people understood, even way over here on the West Coast. Now that's just the New York niggas hating on the South. That's all that was. Because here we was bumping OutKast like a motherfucker. We like, how in the hell didn't OutKast? What? Y'all remember that? I know Ice Cube dissed Arsenio. That was actually one of Ice Cube's worst lines. They asked me, do I like Arsenio? Yes, just as much as the bicentennial. That was probably Ice Cube's worst line ever. Hey, you nut licking ass niggas. You see how I can criticize my favorite rapper? Ain't nobody perfect. But Arsenio didn't respond. That's why Arsenio gets the credit for not playing a beef. Ice Cube was under a misunderstanding with Arsenio. And through that misunderstanding, he wrote probably his worst line he ever wrote in any song. I hated that damn line. That line was horrible. Ice Cube's still great, though. They gave that shit. And for y'all, look, I see y'all in the chat room taking it personal. I'm talking about the Source magazine. I'm literally talking about the Source. Is chat room. Is Benzino not from New York? Am I wrong? Is Benzino not from New York? Is he not, or is he from Jersey? I be forgetting. Y'all niggas think crossing a bridge means something. I be forgetting that shit. Chat room, am I wrong? Where's Benzino from? Where was Source magazine centered? Huh? Help me out, chat. Okay, he's from Boston. But where was Source magazine? Where was the magazine centered? Yeah, because Benzino was there. He was part of the people that got Paul Pierce stabbed, allegedly. I forgot about that. Allegedly. I didn't say he got Paul Pierce stabbed, but that's what people say. Okay, so the magazine was based in Boston. My bad then. My bad. The magazine, yeah, the Source is New York. I thought so. Yeah, the Source is New York. He's from Boston, but the Source was a New York magazine, right? And look, y'all can look. Go watch Benzino's interview on Drink Champs. He said that. On Drink Champs, he apologized for not giving OutKast credit. He actually apologized on Drink Champs. And he was, it was probably that bias. And that is the reason why when OutKast went to the Source Awards in New York, they said the South got something to say. All that was around the same time. Benzino slights them. Here on the West Coast, we took it as another one of them goddamn East Coast, because we was slighted on the West Coast. We was the first outside to embrace the South. Too Short going to Atlanta was big. Scarface and them always came to LA. LA and Houston hip hop for my whole life. I'm drawing a blank. Willie D, Scarface, what's the name? The Ghetto Boys. To me, the Ghetto Boys is just as much part of my upbringing as N.W.A. She said Benzino loves Lady. I think Benzino, Puffy, all them niggas is fruit booties. But that's another story. We talking about music. I realize when these people are funded by them majors don't like funding people with their head on straight with 2-parent households. Shit. And them majors put money behind, you was a single mom raised? Here's some money. Your dad was on drugs? Here's some more money. Oh, you were touched by your uncle? Here's some more money. They want dysfunctional people making the rules. Y'all ain't picked that part of the game up yet? Y'all ain't picked that part of the game up yet? So yeah, like the dysfunctional people are the one that get funded. Those are the ones that get the money. It's very rare you're gonna see somebody with a solid 2-parent household foundation that has a functional relationship get the funding from the majors. Every now and again you'll get some. Man, I loved Devin the Dude. I love Devin the Dude's music. Can you please pass that to me? And Devin the Dude's a cold MF right there, boy. I love Devin the Dude. But y'all see how, as a people, yeah, Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels. It's the reason why Tyler Perry and Lee Daniels got the budget and they stopped giving budgets to John Singleton. Ice Cube's been trying to make a new Friday for 25 years. They started in the 90s. It was a lot of money going around in the 90s. But when the 2000s hit and they started, and all them movie studios and record labels consolidated, and it was only a few, who got the budgets? 50 Cent, dysfunctional. Lee Daniels, dysfunctional. Tyler Perry, dysfunctional. Benzino, dysfunctional. Diddy, dysfunctional. The dysfunctional people get the budgets. Nicki Minaj, dysfunctional. Drake, Jewish. But yeah, that's another thing. But there are exceptions here and there. I'm not saying all. There are exceptions here and there. Not everybody's dysfunctional. But the exception does not change the rule. So let's keep going. Let's go back to some things that they're talking about on here, because I thought that go watch the Math Alpha this clip, because I thought that this was a really, really good constructive conversation that these brothers had. I thought this was a very constructive conversation. Actually, let me just turn to here. I thought that this was a constructive conversation. So let's keep going with some of the things that they talked about. Let's keep going.
It was almost like we couldn't party together. We couldn't kick it together. Right. But that wasn't how we personally felt, but that's how the music came out. And you know, at certain points, I feel like we fell into it too. Like, oh, them niggas over there don't like us. Or they might have been like, them niggas think they better than us. And you know, I don't know exactly what that was, but I will say a turning point in that for me was when I went to SOBs and saw Kanye performing. It was when his first album. Right. And his album wasn't out yet. And I was like, it was people there with backpacks and they had the rock chains and they was throwing up Rockefeller. And I was like, yo, this is the merger. This is what we missed. Cause growing up for me, I knew niggas that was dope dealers that were listening to De La Soul. You know what I'm saying? They was listening to Tribe.
And that's how hip hop was. And let me take it a step further. 80s and 90s hip hop wasn't just on hip hop. We listened to it all. Like, Anita Baker was huge in the late 80s. I remember Stone Cold Gangsters in the 80s. Had Jerry curls, rock Kroger sacks and Lokes. Man, please. You gonna hear a lot. Like Rodney and Joe Cool, they be playing. Yeah, you'd hear this. Yeah. This is like the soundtrack of my childhood. This is like the soundtrack of my childhood. You'd hear that, and if you listen to Rodney and Joe Coley, that sample is a Barry White sample within that. But I digress. Let me see here. And I remember that you be walking around in the 80s. Hold on, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Here we go. The fuck is going on? Nigga, this what you're in the 80s. That be bumping. Next song. This be the next song. Man, niggas was on that. In the 80s, man, you gonna hear some Eazy-E cruising down the street in my 6'4". The next song you gonna hear. That's the reason why Kendrick named his album G and X. Do y'all get it? Go back and listen to G and X. In G and X, that whole album was referencing Anita Baker. When that Mexican lady was singing, that was a song to Anita Baker. They have one song called Luther, but all throughout G and X, Kendrick Lamar is referencing Anita Baker. Anita Baker was funded by Freeway Rick Ross. Anita Baker's demo. We would have never heard this. Without Freeway Rick Ross, without the streets of LA, we would have never heard this. That came from the streets of LA. That came from Freeway Rick Ross, who funded that demo. There is no division in our music, only preferences. There's no division, only preferences. Source Magazine, Vibe Magazine, they brought this crap in, and we blame each other. Top 5, 5 mics. Oh man, I don't fuck with that region. Did anybody ever ask where Anita Baker's from? Did anybody care? Man, in the 80s, bruh, 80s LA, the LA I grew up in, this is what you hear going down the street. Going down the street.
Shooting attorneys all. MC Ren.
This would be on.
See, police are afraid of me. Huh?
That'd be the first song you hear. And then as soon as that song go off, the next song you heard was this. This was the next song.
Don't let I look in. Let me hear you.
That's my memories of going down Western and Florence. And then when that went off, the same gangster dudes with their sound system, they next song they're gonna play after that is gonna be some Levert.
Baby, my love was so strong.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You gonna hear that, and then the next song after that is gonna be this.
Once upon a time in the black.
Class. Then you had to go see Dr. Bombay. Got a shot.
That's how we used to do our music. This is some into the 2000s, 2000 teens, where all this stuff gets, okay, no, you can only listen to this. I've been listening to people brag about Drake. Man, Drake can go from vibe to rapping. Well, so could LL Cool J. Like, what are we talking about here? Scarface can actually play the guitar. Like, we've always done this. Man, Keith Sweat was huge in the hip-hop generation. Some of y'all, I know Lady Hotel, bear with me. I know you heard this story before, and a lot of y'all in the chat, my regulars, y'all heard this story. But bear with me so I can say this for those who didn't hear this story. My memories of this song right here is a drive-by. Shirley Murdoch, As We Lay. A song about fornicating and cheating. I remember hearing that shit bumping down the street. Somebody was bumping that. And then it is when it get quiet. It got quiet. And then next thing you heard was Uzis going off. And one of the first drive-bys I was ever involved, I wasn't involved with, they weren't shooting at me, but they were shooting at the house next door. Shirley Murdoch was playing. They wasn't playing N.W.A. That's my memory of this song. Not my first. I remember the song already. The song's already popular. This song was very popular in L.A. All throughout the projects, all throughout this. Everyone was playing this. But this is what I heard leading up to a drive-by. A gospel love song. Next thing I heard was an Uzi going off. So it wasn't just gangster rap. We listened to it all. That damn Source magazine, all that stuff is what really perpetuated that nonsense.
I think it was more about the. I get what you're saying, but that's also a manufactured definition in the way the word conscious functions versus.
Let me go back to this part.
We're not doing that, man.
You know what it is? About let's separate them. Let's separate them. The East, let's make them all go over light skin, dark skin. East, East West wasn't there yet, but Willie Lynch was talking about
an evolution of the same thing.
Yeah. So I think those boxes made us fall into some of that type of behavior. We ain't, until we got around each other. It was like, man, we all are the same elk. We love this shit.
But I got.
Hey, Slim, and why does LA equal health self-hate? Because we had a drive-by? Are you saying there's no crime in your city? Or are you just a fucking loser that's jealous of niggas from LA? Which one is it? Drive-by shooting started with the mafia in New York and Chicago. Was that self-hate? Or are you just some cliche repeating ass nigga? Back to what we talking about.
Gotta say, man, the conscious dudes was throwing stones, man. Y'all was like,
this is what I'm saying. Math Hoffa said the conscious dudes was throwing stones. I get this a lot. I hear this, and I usually hear this from people who aren't that smart. But listen to this part.
We ain't. Until we got around each other, it was like, man, we all are the same elk. We love this shit.
But I gotta say, man, the conscious dudes was throwing stones, man. Y'all was like, get out of here with that. Y'all making club records over there.
He said the conscious dudes was throwing stones, and it wasn't quite. And there were some stones thrown, but that's not really what it was. Consciousness was always a part of hip hop, going back to Melly Mel. Going back to Melly Mel. Consciousness has always been a key component of hip hop. It is one of the pillars of hip hop. Consciousness is a pillar of hip hop. Consciousness is a pillar of hip hop. The shiny suit took out the conscious. Remember how we started this? It was a shiny suit that took out the consciousness in rap. Gangster rap took out the dancing and the fun. Shiny suit took out the consciousness. So when you get Common, Lupe, and that class of consciousness, quote unquote, coming around, They were responding to being pushed out and marginalized, and people like Jay-Z saying, "You trying to kick knowledge, nigga?" I could rap like Common Sense. Jay-Z was throwing a lot of shots at consciousness. I could rap like Common Sense. So a lot of your conscious guys were fighting for a space that they were kicked out of. So that's not the same as just coming out throwing stones. No. After Tupac died, consciousness was booted from hip-hop. And Common, Lupe, early Kanye, early grad college dropout Kanye, they're trying to bring it back in to hip hop. Remember that. Remember that. Somebody said Lupe only had Kick Push. No, that's just the only song that hit the radio that you heard. Tell me, Mr. Big Hands, you haven't heard Lupe without telling me you haven't heard Lupe. Kick Push is just the one that they sent mainstream. His whole damn career has been conscious. The hell you talking about? But Math Hoffa, again, he's the host of this show. This is so-called hip-hop media, right? Yeah, Most Def. This is so-called hip-hop media, right? This is why hip-hop is trash. Hip-hop coverage is trash. Listen to the hip-hop media. They can't give you perspective. My thing is, if you're going to be hip-hop media, like that's why I appreciate Justin Hunt so much in this channel. I appreciate Glasses Malone channel. I appreciate, there are certain channels out there, Dog Crimes. I'm drawing a blank to her name, but Moni. I think it's Moni. I started following her from Justin Hunt's show. Chilling with Moni. She's great. Curtis King is great. There are people out there who are great, but we talking about the people who are allowed to hit big time in hip hop media. Math Hoffa, Academics, Joe Budden, Angela Martinez, Jason Lee. These cats ain't giving you no kind of perspective and information. What's up, Mario? All right, sorry about that. Got my handyman coming. So, and just the fact that they named him, the fact that they had a person like Common had to take on the title conscious rapper. Before the 2000s, Common would just, if Common comes out in 1987, Common's just a rapper. He's not a conscious rapper, he's a rapper. Because you'd have consciousness, like having consciousness in your music wasn't some woo thing. The reason why people like Common had to become labeled a quote unquote conscious rapper, because by now, hip hop is fully infiltrated by divisiveness, by division, by BS. I want to give a shout out. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, I probably have it saved on Twitter. I think I have it saved on Twitter. Let's talk about some good things in hip hop. Let's talk about, before we finish it off, Let's talk about something positive. Salute to Melly Mel and Cube, because one thing about Ice Cube has always shown credit to the legends. Ice Cube has been one of the people that it was a lot of Ice Cube's breadcrumbs that led me as somebody who's a music researcher. In a lot of Ice Cube interviews, Ice Cube left a lot of breadcrumbs from researchers like me to go and look up for things that happen outside of my consciousness. Because in the 80s, I'm still a little kid, so I don't quite know everything going on. Salute to Ice Cube for always being someone. Ice Cube, Too Short, Snoop, these are three people who've always been very open about the past and where they got it from. And I got to give Dre some credit with that too. And DJ Quick. But salute to Melly Mel. Watch this by Melly Mel.
Ice Cube is definitely one of my favorite people as far as in rap. As far as the West Coast, I can't really think of nobody other than Pac. I can't think of nobody that had the run that Ice Cube had. Writing for N.W.A, you know, doing it with that, you know, that was a breakthrough group, very important for that time. It actually was a nice, one of the greatest pivots from hip hop being positive to N.W.A coming with the gangster rap. And he had a nice run when he stopped doing the Ice Cube thing. He made movies, you know, family movies. And I respect that, you know what I mean? Because he could have made movies, you know, that reflected the N.W.A side of his talent.
Like
but he
50 Cent.
didn't. He did regular movies, you know, the big three, basketball, gave basketball players that's next level of their career, another career. I think he did a lot with himself. You know, a lot of positive, good things that nobody was thinking about doing. I think he did it, and, you know, I respect him for that.
Salute to Melly Mel and Cube for both showing mutual love publicly. We need more of that. Mutual public love between the generations. And then there was this. You know, Cube, Dre came down to Cube's big three and sat courtside. I thought that was really big. I love seeing when hip hop, when people come together and talk about these things and show love to each other. What is something that needs to happen more, because there are young researchers out there who want to know. And as long as you got people like Pete Rock lying to them, they never gonna figure it out. If you listen to Pete Rock, if you listen to Fat Joe, when the person that's 5 years old right now, who in 20, 30 years, they gonna want to know more about music, and they start doing what I did, and that's watch interviews and read books, they're gonna run across Pete Rock interviews and get lost in the loop. Because he's gonna keep saying, oh, hip hop is Jamaican, but Pete Rock's nickname is Soul Brother, that's James Brown. All of Pete Rock's music he samples is the Mizell Brothers, James Brown, George Clinton, and all this soul and funk, yet he's telling all the kids to go look at Jamaica. And he's gonna mess up research in 30 years because of that bullshit. So salute to the rappers that show love to the other rappers and tell the truth. You dig? You dig? And so let's keep going. And I want to finish it off on this last point that they made. Let me see where I can find it.
Now we're here to the point where money is more important than talent.
And
Way more.
Like, hey, y'all know the Nas is who was able to use street, but he had a consciousness to him. Now he hit that balance. That's what Rakim was too. Right. But the point is I will acknowledge that it was a moment where, even if you looked at some of my videos, it was taking shots at the money makers in hip hop.
Right.
But I think
why was it?
I think that was because we felt like, hey, y'all know y'all love this culture, and don't make this all about money. Because if so, people gonna start following, and they're gonna lose what the true essence of this is.
And we're here now.
And you heard what Common said? And he's 100% right, and that's exactly where we ended up. Common said the reason why the conscious guys were taking shots at the money guys was because he said, if we keep it on this path, and this is common in the late 90s, early 2000s, he said it 25 years ago. Ice Cube said it 35 years ago in True to the Game. Common said it again 25 years ago. If we keep on this money, hoes, and clothes path, it's going to have hip-hop end up in a place that where we don't want it. It's going to make hip-hop lose its true essence. Common told the truth. 100% of the truth. Contrast that to now. Let me see if I can find that video. Who remembers this?
You don't have to give a disclaimer first.
Well, I'm just saying, as someone who was part of probably the genre's biggest rap beef,
Well, until now.
as a spectator,
Yeah, because it's not. I guess I'm gonna say it. I don't know if battling needs to be part of the culture anymore.
Not that
Interesting.
part, but we hate that part.
yeah,
It could stand it before because achieved the
I'm looking
same
up-
thing. Be outgrown, and now you have these pods of cult.
yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
no matter what he makes, what
I'm looking for the pillars of hip hop part.
that point. And then when it happened, it happened. It was right short. Again, I love the idea that we got so much music. I don't know, man.
Takes up so much oxygen.
It could stand it before. It's probably, on social media. No matter what he makes, it's
As a spectator,
That ain't
what
what I
did you
want.
think of the 2024
I'm
back
looking
and
for
forth
the
between
part
him and
where he
Drake?
talks about the pillars of hip
Hip hop
hop.
was created on 4 pillars. They
To this point, the context in this conversation.
I'm looking for the part where Jay-Z talks about the pillars of hip hop. Here we go. I think this is it.
there are 4 pillars of hip hop, right? There's break dancing,
Yep,
and it's graffiti.
yep,
There's DJing and battling.
yep.
Break dance is not.
What did Common say was gonna happen? Let's go back to what Common said. Go back to what Common said.
Y'all know y'all love this culture, and don't make this all about. I will acknowledge that it was a moment where even if you looked at some of our videos, it was taking shots at the money makers in hip hop.
Right.
But I think
why
that,
was it?
I think that was because we felt like, hey, y'all know y'all love this culture, and don't make this all about money, because if so, people gonna start following, and they're gonna lose what the true essence of this is.
And we're here now.
They're gonna lose what the true essence of this thing is now. And listen to the so-called GOAT now. He said that about what his mindset was 25 years ago. Let's fast forward to now.
There are 4 pillars of hip hop, right? There's break dancing,
Yep,
and it's graffiti.
yep.
There's DJing and battling.
The corny ass nigga left out consciousness. Consciousness was always one of the pillars of hip hop. The knowledge was always a pillar of hip hop. The same dude that Common was rapping about 25 years ago, selling the culture out for money, 25 years later, has an interview and don't even mention the knowledge. It's a reason why you got to listen to the smart dudes. The money, hoes, and clothes, people who talk stats, people who talk money, they are deceiving you. Numbers people are deceiving you. They know that your dumb ass ain't smart enough to truly understand what the numbers are saying. So they understand that you know that you'll believe whatever they say the numbers are saying. Jay-Z will brag about, oh, I have all these number ones, but he won't talk about how much money he had to spend to get a number one. Yeah, you're number one because your record company gave you that $500,000 to push that single, and the next rapper didn't get that. That's why you're number one. Not because your music is special and great. It's because you had the budget to get it to number one. I ain't been rapping like common sense. The reason why these New York niggas like talking about West Coast is what killed hip hop is because they don't want you looking at what the hell they did. They sold out hip hop. Diddy, Jay-Z. Jay-Z and Diddy are two of the biggest sellouts ever. Remember, Diddy is Clive Davis's boy. Anything you have to say about Diddy, you can say it 10 times about Clive Davis. These are the two biggest sellouts in hip-hop history, is Diddy and Jay-Z. Diddy and Jay-Z are the two biggest hip-hop sellouts ever. And I got an article dropping tomorrow on how Clive Davis helped destroy music. I'm going to drop this tomorrow. Go and subscribe to my Substack at Dewan B. Dewan B. Go subscribe to my Substack. I'm going to drop this on Substack. I was going to wait till Sunday, but I'm gonna wait till tomorrow to drop. I'm going to drop this tomorrow on Substack. And also directly at my website, incensandashtrays.com. Somebody said, y'all sold murder. No, we sold fuck the police. If you turn fuck the police into murder, then you're a fucking idiot. Oh yeah, N.W.A. did sell shooting a drug dealer. If you listen to the song Dope Man, N.W.A. did. N.W.A. sold, you sold my mother these drugs, and if she happens to die, I'm going to put a slug in your culo. N.W.A. most definitely sold killing drug dealers. Yes, they did. Diddy and Jay-Z sold off hip-hop. Because remember, Diddy ain't no music person. That nigga ain't smart. He was the do-boy for Clive Davis. If you want to know Diddy, you got to understand Clive Davis. Clive Davis was Diddy's cat's paw. Read the book, The 48 Laws of Power. And Clive Davis was the cat's paw for the people that he worked for. He wasn't that smart either. Diddy was far down the line because Clive Davis is pretty far down the line too. How do I know Clive Davis is down the line? We all know who he is. The people we know their names like that, they're the ones that are further down the line. But he's the one that put that put the cash infusion behind Diddy. Diddy was not a music executive. Diddy was not a music person, don't know shit about music. He was placed by this guy, Clive Davis. Jay-Z was placed by Leor Cohen. Jay-Z is in Ice Cube and Nas's class in hip hop. Well, Jay-Z's older than Nas. Jay-Z is in like the Ice Cube, Big Daddy Kane era. Jay-Z, Big Daddy Kane, Kool Moe Dee, Ice Cube, they're all the same class. Nas is actually the class after Jay-Z, if we're going to tell the whole truth. Jay-Z took off later when all those other guys were for the most part pushed out. He went to the top. Why? Because he was the boy of the true power. So you make sure with Jay-Z, you make sure to load him up with awards like they did Milli Vanilli. They took Milli Vanilli's back.
Come on, give me the story,
I'm gonna tell you
But
because
whatever you want, you load them up with rewards,
we did the whole
and you'll get the stupid people that be like,
all time.
"Oh, he must be good because he got a lot of rewards." No, nigga, no, he's not good. He's not. He's just the one that they wanted to get pushed to the front. That's all. That's all. That's all. And like I tell New York niggas that hated gangster rap, y'all have the power to take it back. All you had to do is stand behind Tribe, stand behind the Wu-Tang Clan, stand behind Nas, and y'all could have wrestled the sound back from gangster rap. But you didn't. You got behind Biggie. You got behind Jay-Z. And what did they talk about? The same shit N.W.A. talked about. If you go back and listen to Biggie Smalls' 10 crack commandments, ain't nothing but the East Coast How to Survive in South Central. Go listen to How to Survive in South Central by Ice Cube, then listen to Biggie's 10 commandments. It's a knockoff. Biggie's 10 commandments is a knockoff of How to Survive in South Central. Rule number 1, get yourself a gun. A 9 in your ass and be fine. I'm telling y'all right now, if y'all think I'm bullshitting, play How to Survive in South Central and play Biggie's 10 commandments back to back. And you tell me. Play them back to back and you tell me I'm wrong. I give y'all niggas that whole truth. Y'all don't be liking it either. But I want to transition a little bit. And I'm going to take some calls after this. Black people, when it comes to party culture, I saw this clip on Earn Leisure. I saw this Earn Leisure clip. And he's saying something that I've been saying for a long time. Yeah, Biggie did say he formatted Ready to Die off the Chronic. Right. Right. I've been telling y'all a long time, black people spend way more money. They always trying to tell us that we broke, we poor. They always trying to tell us that we ain't shit and how we need, no. We run the culture. When I used to work at the nightclubs, Black Night always made the most money. That's why I don't believe record sales numbers. Because when you look at the level of impact black music has, it does not match with the sales. It does not match with the sales. Listen to this real quick.
Difference between black money and white money. There's no club that says they're going to start out black. They're not going to do it. They're going to get the white money. They think white money is it. Friday night was my black night. Saturday night was my white night at Dream. Friday night was doing $250,000. Saturday night was maybe doing $80,000. You just can't get it. The difference, and nobody understands it. Do you want Neiman Marcus or do you want Walmart? Parking, coat check, drinks, bottle service. Bottle service, but I didn't even know back then.
So there's more money with the black.
It crushes. Nowadays, there are no clubs that stay white.
All right, there's no club that stay white because black people spend more money on nightlife than white people.
Yes. White people spend money on drugs.
Inside the club.
Inside the club?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. You can say allegedly, except that I would do 2,500 white people here at Park when I opened. I didn't want to cannibalize love. So I said, I brought this white boy in from Vegas. We're going to tell everybody, you own the joint when I open Park. You own the joint. So we doing 2,500 people a night. I'm doing $40,000, $50,000. I'm like, $20 there. I'm watching bartenders. I'm watching the staff. I'm like,
Just buy.
how the fuck are y'all stealing my money?
They just buying beer. That's where we get the 250 cameras.
Yeah.
The black people, how much they doing?
Oh. So then I decided I did a black party on a Thursday. On a Thursday, I did 75. I only got 1,200 people. On Friday, I'm doing 45. Something's wrong with this equation. I'm doing 2,500 people. I said, we're going to try the black thing on Friday. I went from 45 to 135. What you doing?
That's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to be Friday, Saturday.
I noticed that 15 years ago when I'd be in a club. I worked security for 18 months in a club, and on Black Night, I would make $200 to $500 a night in tips from black people trying to get up in VIP who didn't have wristbands. The clubs, black folks, the bottle service. When white folks get bottle service, they get beers, and they snort cocaine. When we go to the bottle service, we get Hennessy. I remember one night. This was and don't let NBA players be there. I'm bringing this up, black folks, because I want us to see that they'll tell us that our money's nothing with this boycott that we have with this whole Asian thing, but we got to realize that our money's everything. It's everything. I remember one night I was at the club with one of my friends from the Clippers, and this is like the beginning of the season party. Is me. This back during the Lob City years. Blake Griffin, Chris Paul. I'm not gonna drop the names who was there. Y'all know who was on that team. It was all but maybe 3 players that was there from Lob City. And I remember them big old bottles of Patron. They was having the big ones. And I remember looking over at the bill when the bottle service lady came and dropped that bill off. I remember looking over, and I remember just our table that we was at. The bill was like. Then that was the other night. That was a different night. This night the bill was like $67,000. No lie. The bill was like 67 grand. Cause we had like Ace of Spades coming. And back then the bottle of Ace of Spades was like $3,500 a bottle. Then big old Patrons was like $3 grand. And the bill was like 67,000 that night. I remember this other night, I was out. I'm not gonna mention this person's name because they're a coach now in the NBA. And so I don't want them in the NBA you gotta be real straight laced. But back then they were playing. I remember one night, this back when the Garden of Eden was open, Sunday nights. I remember looking at the bill one night, the bill was 89 grand for that night, including tax and tip. And I would see this wasn't abnormal. This wasn't abnormal. I would see 15, 20. I would say at least sometimes and LA don't have clubs as big as New York. Clubs are way smaller. These clubs fit 300-400 people. I remember one night, it was at Club Sugar when it first opened up on Hollywood and Cahuenga. I remember seeing at least all the tables were filled, and I just remember adding the money up from the bottles because I knew how much the bottles cost. I remember adding at like 4 different tables. One table spent like 25 grand. The next table spent like 30. The other table spent like 15. The table that spent 15 was the smallest table of the night. Was the table that spent 15 grand. And we talking like 2009, 8, 10. And in LA, the club closes at 2. You don't get to party till 4. These people walk in because ain't nobody getting there before 11:30. People walking in 11:30, quarter to midnight, and that 25 grand was spent between 11:30 and 1:30 a.m. Because last call's at 1:20. That 35, 40 grand was spent between 11:30 and 1:30. 2 hours. Our money's valuable, and they miss it when it's not there. That goes for the nail salons. That goes for the non-black barbershops. That goes for the liquor stores. I would see this regularly, man. The people I party with, shit. I didn't spend that kind of goddamn money. And I knew to drink, I knew to carry a flask. I was known as they would know me. DeWine, you got your flask on you? Yup. I'm older now, so I don't carry the flask. I got a little more class in me right now. But in my 20s, you was gonna see me with that flask. So I put that story up to show that's a consistent mode of behavior that we exhibit culturally. I want us to understand that. Now I'm open the phone line to take y'all calls. You can call in 323-705-5150, extension 800, extension 800, extension 800. But yeah, I stand on that. Who divided hip hop? The media divided hip hop. And the people bought into it. Because I can't always blame the media. I gotta put it on the people too. I remember being in the 90s thinking like, I remember back in the 90s when I was a teenager thinking, hip hop is so fucking stupid. These niggas is dumb. I ain't gonna lie. I remember reading, I hated Source Magazine. I thought that was just the dumbest shit. Source Magazine is the reason why a lot of y'all, but a lot of the OGs of today learned a lot of their hip hop and Source and Vibe. And them niggas was dumb. They wasn't talking about shit. I hear things, man. I would hear people say things like, man, hip hop is the first form of music that really come from the streets, man. Everything else, huh? Okay, so were black people living in mansions and driving Rolls Royces when they created R&B? Was the black standard of living so much better when we created rock and roll? Oh, so you think just because the jazz guys was wearing suits, them niggas is engineers? Man, they didn't have no goddamn government cheese and public housing when they created jazz. Either you played that trumpet and you got that change thrown in that case, or you slept on the streets. It wasn't no goddamn government housing. I be thinking, listen to hip hop niggas talk like, where do you niggas think y'all came from? Luxurious beginnings? No, nigga, the music y'all sample came from sharecroppers. The fuck is y'all talking about? What's up, Carter? What's the name? Where you calling from?
Yo, what's going on? Man, this Ivor, man. How you feeling?
Hey, what up, my brother?
Man, I can't call it, man. This is a good one right here, though. This one that you got going on today.
Appreciate it, my man. It's always good when you call in.
Yeah. Hip hop lost its way, and I think it was LL that said in a recent interview how these cats today, they act like everything before them is whack or it ain't worth giving it your attention. But hip hop was built off everything before it, and you didn't have to be somebody in order to do what these people are doing now. Mm-hmm. So they just taking advantage of what's been laid out before them.
Right.
So when we don't understand history, then you doomed to just fail in the end anyway. And it's sad that it's got to this point.
And,
you know what I'm saying?
Not only do you fail, you give away what you have because you don't see the worth in it. That's how they take it.
Exactly.
They take it. It's not that they taking something that we see value in. We don't see the value in it. So we be like, here.
Nope. So then it's easy for these strippers get off the pole, grab a mic. It's easy for these M&Ms to claim this and that and get their status. You know what I'm saying? And now we had a conundrum now where like where's hip hop to go? Where's hip hop gonna go in the next 5 years? Like it's been bastardized all over TV. You don't see a commercial like everybody feeds off its energy, but what is the direction that it's going? You know what I mean? So yeah, it's slipped out, man. And you right when you say that that you know, the magazines and the media played their role. But I think that that was a call that was made when they said, "Hey, we need to fill up these prisons. So we got to get this negativity out here and make sure we get everybody divided." And we fell right into the trap.
We fell in
So I'm gonna land right there.
Fell right into it, man. Thanks for giving us a call.
No doubt.
Fell right into the trap. That's some real talk. That's some real talk. Fell right for the trap. What's up, Carl? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Call from New York.
What's up? What's on your mind, brother?
Nah, it's a great conversation, but I just wanted to basically I kind of agree with just about everything that you're saying. But I just wanted to speak upon a little bit about bring a little bit of clarity with some New York stuff, just with like how it was separated here, just from my experience of experiencing it here. So basically, what I want to say is that New York hip hop was kind of controlled by the two black stations that were here at the time. It was like Kiss FM and WBLS, and they were and basically kind of like you said, when you hear a hip hop song, you hear Shalimar, and then you hear BDP, and then you might hear Anita Baker. It was kind of like that, but it was never like fully hip hop. But there was a white and Hispanic station that played the Hispanic freestyle and dance music, and that was Hot 97. So what ended up happening was Clear Channel bought the stations. They made the two black stations R&B, like smooth jazz and R&B, and then they made Hot 97 the hip hop station. And that's when we lost control, because the streets no longer told you what was hot, because the DJs would always create what was hot. The streets told you what was hot, and that's kind of like what was played on the radio. Once Hot 97 got control of it, that's when you got like the Angie Martinez and stuff like that, and it just went awry.
I respect what you're saying, but understand that happened nationwide. Not that happened after.
No. I'm just saying. No, I agree, but I'm just saying from New York. That's when we started
Angie Martinez. That's why I brought her up. And remember, I mentioned her name. That's the reason why things are confused, because people like Angie Martinez got on the mic. People like Ebro got on the mic later on. People
100%.
And here in LA, it was saying the Clear Channel after the Telecommunications Act, they bought up 92.3 The Beat, which was hip hop. Power 106. They bought all that stuff out, and then you went from black men to black women to all Mexicans on the radio out here. The Mexicans hit the radio in the early 2000s. The only black person left was Big Boy. And the reason why I don't have that much respect for Big Boy, because Big Boy is black, but he surrounded himself with all Mexicans. That's why I don't sit around and like give him all this love and credit, because he giving all of his gifts to Mexicans, not us. So I can't put Big Boy in the status of great black radio DJs, because he's not putting black people on.
Gotcha. So it seems like that must have been like a strategy.
It was a nationwide strategy.
Nationwide, but that's just how I saw it from here. So I didn't even know that's how it was even operated.
Go back.
On that
I did a video. If you search this channel and go back to February, I did a 30-year anniversary of the Telecommunications Act, and I broke down how that happened nationwide all the way through.
Okay.
But thanks for the call,
so
my
yeah,
brother.
I was working at Tower Records at the time, and also my brother was in the
that was the spot.
Out here. My brother was a recording engineer. I had family in the business. Like my cousins who lived around the corner, they sang for Madonna. My brother was Salt and Pepper's engineers for a long time. My other brother
we got
screwed
over for real, man. But I got a bunch of calls coming through, my man. Thanks for giving us a call.
No, you got it, brother. You got it, brother. Take us. I just wanted to just give that perspective.
I appreciate that. You have a good one.
Thank you, brother. Take it easy, man.
Yeah, y'all got screwed over when they let Angie Martinez and Ebro take over y'all radio in New York. All these Rosenberg. Here in LA, we had Theo. Then they start letting all these Mexicans on. The Mexicans don't hire black people. The minute they get a Mexican person working that's doing the hiring, they don't hire black people. They don't hire black people. and neither does Big Boy on the radio here in LA. He don't hire black people. So, you know, Big Boy, is he a legend in LA radio? Technically, yes. Big Boy is most definitely a legend in LA radio because he's been here since the 90s. He's been in a bunch of movies. But I personally don't put it. Hey, can you put me on mute? I personally don't put Big Boy up there because Big Boy does not hire black people.
Big Boy,
Hey, caller, what's up, man? You gotta mute me in the background.
Big Boy is most definitely.
I don't want to hear myself. They don't have me muted. Somebody else call in, or whoever that was calling back, mute me. But yeah, I don't play those games. I'm not one of those. Oh, they're from LA, so they're perfect. Now, if you from LA and full of shit, you ain't no better than somebody else who's from New York and full of shit. I don't like full of shit. I don't care if it comes from LA, New York, Boston, or South Africa. If you're full of shit, you're full of shit. What's up, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
All right, Dosky, Baltimore City, B-More.
B-More, what's on your mind, brother?
What's up, man? I would like to, as you was talking about the pillars of hip hop, right? And I believe some of the pillars was left out. Cause you got dancing, that's a pillar. DJing, that's a pillar. MCing, what they call rapping, that's a pillar. You can't forget style and fashion, that's a pillar. Graffiti, that's a pillar. And then you can't ever forget beatboxing. That's a whole nother pillar.
I wouldn't put beatboxing in the pillar, but the rest of the stuff, yeah.
Why not?
Because
why not?
When was last time a pillar is something? Let me finish. Don't ask me a question then cut me off. A pillar is something that holds up a building. When was the last time you heard somebody beatboxing?
It's not the.
That means it's not holding it up. But dancing does.
Just let me finish.
That means.
Hold up. Let me finish. It held up a pillar because when you didn't have a DJ or anything behind you, when you had just the MC or two MCs, you had the beatboxer, and that was the group.
Beatboxing was a core component for a particular style of rap during a particular time. But you ain't heard nobody beatbox in 35 years. So, but people still dance, people still do the other stuff. But Jay-Z left out a lot of stuff because Jay-Z's not the culture. Jay-Z's corporate. He's not the culture, he's corporate. And the sooner people realize that, the sooner, we can get back to discovering who's really the culture. You know what I mean?
All right. So what would Russell Simmons go under?
Russell Simmons was one of the great founders.
What part of that hip hop?
He's one of the great founders of business, of the business of hip hop, not only in music but also with Def Comedy Jam.
So I'm just saying, as far as hip hop, as far as what he done, would that be considered a pillar?
No,
because that's an avenue that we go into.
It was a great thing that he did. The pillars were all tied back to the culture of what the music itself was about. And quite honestly, I don't get too much into the pillars because that shit's the pillars of that shit. These are just pillars of black. These are strong elements of black music culture, not just hip hop. Dancing, that's all black music. Knowledge, that's all black music. Lyricism, that's all black music. Beatboxing was done by Bobby McFerrin before hip hop. So it's just like, I think sometimes hip hop get a little bit too much dip on this chip. These are just like kind of standard elements. Fashion, these are all standard elements just of black culture. These are all just extensions of black culture. All black, like in going back to bebop. Bebop changed the world with double-breasted suits. America, they didn't wear double-breasted suits before bebop and thick brim glasses. Bebop brought in double-breasted suits. So every time we come with a new music, we come with a new style of dress, we come with a new way of talking, we come with a new way of dancing, and we got and lyricism is a core component of it.
All right, brother. Okay. Yeah, and I appreciate you accepting my call. Appreciate that, and keep doing a good job, and keep just doing what you do, man.
I appreciate it, my brother. Let's give us a call.
All right.
Yeah, like a lot of times I think hip hop really gets a little bit too much dip on the ship. Oh man, we created these pillars. And I ain't talking about the caller. I'm talking about this in general. See, no, you got b-boying. No, you got the knowledge. No, like, okay, the knowledge. The Isley Brothers did Fight the Power 10 years before Public Enemy. The real Fight the Power, people are like hip hop just came up with Fight the Power. No, but the Isley Brothers did it first. It's just elements of black music. Hey, what's up, Carl? You gotta mute me in the background. But what's up? What's your name? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, I did. This is Omar, Don't Vert Killer.
Yes, sir. What's on your mind, brother?
I'm sorry. I don't know. I just wanted to talk some issue with you, Dwayne, man. We 50. Let's talk this hip hop. We grew it. We grew up with it. We know everything about it. I'm not as well versed as you with the music, but I'm hip hop. I'm a hip hop baby.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk. I'm going where you going. Let's go to something memory lane. How far you want to go down?
Not too goddamn far down, because I got a bunch of people calling. So what's on your mind?
Let's talk some West Coast talk. Let's talk some Arabian.
Just throw some shit out there, and we talk about it for about a minute, then I gotta get to the next caller. What's on your mind?
Let's go with the pivotal moment of Too Short. Too Short. Let's go with the impact that Too Short had with giving us the common game to be able to not be able to be played by those that wanted to play it.
Too Short is more important than 99% of New York rappers, and they never mention his name.
Yeah.
Too Short is more important than 99.7% of New York rappers. He's probably not more important.
Yeah.
He's not more important than Melly Mel. He's not more important than LL Cool J, although LL Cool J started at the same time. But after LL Cool J, Too Short, because Too Short started in 1980. He started on a completely different coast. He's the one that created the mold for selling out your trunk. He created the mold of rapping about what's on the street corners and selling tapes about what's happening on the streets. Too Short was a model for independence for over a decade before. And not only did Too Short do that, Too Short opened up. He really did do a lot for Atlanta. When he moved to Atlanta, remember, people weren't taking the South serious in '92 in hip hop, and Too Short had started going down doing music in Atlanta starting in '91 before anybody took Atlanta serious. Too Short is the one that put Little John on. Too Short is the one that helped teach Master P the game. So New Orleans rap, Atlanta rap owes a lot to Too Short, and the whole independent game, East Coast to West Coast, owes it to Too Short. Too Short is one of the 5 most important people and for the business of hip hop, for growing hip hop in hip hop history. So people but because these niggas be so regional and jealous, you'll never hear them say that.
Yes, and not old enough or haven't done enough.
I'm talking about the niggas who are old enough. I'm talking about the niggas who was coming to the West Coast and doing Uncle Jams in 1984. I'm talking about them niggas.
The ones that actually haven't actually had either the opportunity or the interest to invest inside of hip hop in its early beginnings. I'm a Miami kid. I was a person that was able to invest. So I had an N.W.A, an Eazy-E, a De La Soul, a Public Enemy tape in my back pocket, and I walked to the record store to get my tapes, stuff like that. So they don't know nothing about those days. Nothing.
Yeah, but we got to educate them, my man. But I got this dude. I got people that keep calling in, man. Thanks for giving us a call.
Thank you, Dwayne.
You have a good one.
Righteous advocate.
Yes, sir.
Yo.
Yeah, Too Short, man. Too Short gave the game so much. The storytelling, the business of rap. Too Short's biggest hit was 25 years into his career. Too Short started in 1980, and his biggest hit was 2006. How many people had their biggest hits over a quarter century into their career? Then followed it up with Life of the Party with Snoop. Too Short, Too Short's also a producer. He knows how to produce his own music. Too Short plays live instruments and raps. So Too Short is a pioneer in the production end, on the A&R end, on the sales end, on the marketing end. He's a pioneer. He's easily one of the 5 most important people in hip hop history. What's up, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace, Divine. Divine Beaters, Divine God of Law. And salute to you for all your research that you have done on the topic of music. I'm not coming here to debate any of that because I haven't done the research on that. And I'm one of those type of people that I have to know something before I can speak on it. So I just come here to say that on YouTube, you type in C Cypher Pig, CEE space CIPHER space pigs, C Cypher Pigs, and you will find some West Coast music, good music. Try to have a positive message for the kids. So, peace to you, my brother Don. Please keep doing your thing.
I appreciate it, man. You have a good one. And tonight we will be doing a dedication to Bernie Worrell at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will be saluting and shouting out Bernie Worrell, the great Bernie Worrell, one of the architects of hip hop, one of the forgotten architects. Today is the 10-year anniversary of his transition, so we're going to use today to shout out and show love to Bernie Worrell, the P-Funk, Uncut Funk, the Bomb. Yeah, Too Short. Yeah, people, everybody say Too Short's regional. Well, music is supposed to be regional. Like, people who go for, when you start going for crossover pop, music loses its soul. And Nas' Illmatic is regional. He's talking about Queensbridge the whole time. I ain't ever been no goddamn Queensbridge, but he's such a great storyteller. He takes me to Queensbridge. Music is supposed to be regional. So if you tell me somebody is too regional, that means you have a closed mind. Now ain't nothing wrong with them. You're supposed to be making music about your environment. What's up, Carl? What's your name? Where you calling from? I guess they hung up. No, they still there. You on mute? Driving through a tunnel? What, you driving down Sepulveda, going under LAX? What's going on here? I'm going to hang up. I guess they was driving up under LAX. God damn. Tried to get to him. Yeah. The problem isn't the region. What's up, Reggie? The problem isn't music being regional. The problem is hip hop. And again, going back to the Source magazine, going back to Vibe magazine, going into, oh man, it's from this coast. I don't know. I just guess I grew up a music lover. I never looked for where somebody was from first. Like music, like hip hop dudes be like, okay, where's this person from? Music lovers are looking up, okay, who's a producer, who's a drummer, who's playing the bass, who was a writer, who arranged, who composed. We look music lovers. I'm looking for the composers. I'm looking for, okay, where did that sample? I'm listening for where the sample came from. I'm looking for, okay, who the writers, who the producers. I don't give a third of a fuck about where that person from. Because the truth of the matter is, the best music is cross-regional. I mean, one second, caller. The best music is a cross-pollination of regions. The best music is when somebody's from here, the producer's from there, and they're rapping about a song about their experience, and the composer's from somewhere else, and then they all come together and make a great fucking song. Almost no music is exclusively one region. Almost none. Some of it is, most of it ain't. If you from New York, if you listen to New York rap and DJ Premier is a producer, yo shit ain't New York anymore all the way. Because DJ Premier's from Texas. What's up, Carter? What's the name? Where you calling from?
Hey, brother, how you doing? It's different from Illinois.
What's up, man? What's on your mind?
St. Louis area, to be exact. Far as with the stuff that you was talking about with R&B and hip hop that was being played, The same thing happened in the early 2000s. It just wasn't as quality music as it was in the 80s and the 90s, like the early 90s. But the same thing was in the early 2000s. A little bit in the early 2010s too. But when like 2015 hit, that's when you start hearing this emo crap that they like now. It's horrible. That's when you strictly start hearing all that, and they start to try to fuse it with R&B, and it just became a whole clusterfuck then. Like, so that's when that started. Mainly around 2015, a little bit 14, but around the mid 2000s, you had Trey Songz, Neo, Chris Brown. I know you have Rihanna too, even though she can't sing, but you still had some, element of R&B. You had Robin Thicke and all that, so it was still around, but it wasn't as strong as it was
as
back
the
in
80s
them
and
times you
90s.
mentioned in the 80s. Yeah. So it was definitely still around, but as far as with the whole hip hop thing, I'm keep pushing this. A lot of people keep throwing up these different pillars, but a lot of that stuff happened in the mid '60s, and they always was rapping in our music. They were always doing it, especially breakdancing. You had people in tuxedos
He
spinning on
said
their heads.
tuxedos, right?
So, yep,
You're right, though. You're right.
You did, yeah. Yep. You get people like tuxedos dressed like the Temptations. They were all like they was always doing this in our culture. The main thing that annoys me is when people try to take credit for something, not doing their research. ABC interviewed Disco King Mario and who's the other man? DJ John Brown and DJ Pete Jones. They interviewed these guys, so they already know where this came from. It's just a lot of these people are playing games when it comes to our culture. That's why I'm so happy that you're doing what you're doing, especially with the lowrider thing. A lot of people don't realize that lowriding comes from Detroit. And it blew up in LA, and that's why it's so strong in LA now. It really originated from Detroit. The people who made the Cassidy for the car to drop down low, them people came from San Diego, California.
Yeah, I'm gonna say San Diego, but before Detroit, I'm gonna say San Diego. The cars are made in Detroit, but the modifications are made. LA modifications were made in San Diego and LA.
Yeah.
San Diego, LA, and Oakland. That's how you know
in Cali.
It was really Cali, because Detroit, the cars are most definitely made in Detroit. But you got to realize this: before the 70s, a lot of those factories and design was here in LA. And then what made, like, say, three-wheel motion. Three-wheel motion comes out of Southern California, San Diego and LA. That's because they were taking parts. They worked. I live like a few miles from what used to be the Northrop Grumman factory, and when they made the three-wheel motion, when they made the car start hopping, that came from airplane mechanics. The brother who created that was an airplane mechanic, and he got those pieces from working at Northrop Grumman that pushed the spoilers up on the airplane, and he took those pieces and put them in shocks, and that's how the three-wheel motion and that stuff comes. So you got to realize
who really made the
out here. Out here, it has a lot to do with the fact a lot of these industries aren't here anymore. But back in the 60s and the 70s and the 50s, a lot of the a lot of replacement parts for cars were made in LA, and it was the airline industry. Same thing with San Diego. San Diego has airline industry, LA has airline industry, and those airline parts that were put on lowriders that made them do a lot of the things, parts that weren't natural to cars.
Who made, like, far as with the bouncing hydraulics? Because I heard that the man who they give credit for it, he didn't make that. As far as with the bouncing hydraulics.
Athene Gibson. And I'm trying to interview him.
Athene Gibson was the one who made.
He didn't want to make three-wheel motion. The person that made, if you subscribe to Incense and Ashtrays, I interviewed brothers from the Individuals, and they taught us about the brothers who invented tuck in the wheels, and the brothers who reinforced the body frames. I interviewed that car club, and that interview's dropping probably on Sunday. So you'll get some of it from that.
Yeah, because as far as with lowriding, it's starting to become a little popular where I'm from, in the Midwest area. I'm starting to see a few cats trying to bring it to, like, the St. Louis area and places like that. So it's starting to come a little popular in the Midwest. Like, it's starting to slowly grow over here a little bit.
Dayton, Ohio had it for a little bit too. Dayton, Ohio, they were low riding. Detroit, Dayton, and certain places, but each city kind of has its own flavor. Oakland has a different flavor.
Yeah.
They're more triple golds than we are here in LA. Houston and Miami also gotta sing. But I gotta get to the next call, my brother. Thanks for getting us a call, my man.
All right, brother.
And so you have a good one. And like the dude said, when I was doing what's his name's show, Talib said hip hop is New York culture. No, New York hip hop, own your own shit. New York hip hop is New York culture. You don't get to speak for LA. You don't get to speak for Oakland. You don't get to speak for Houston. LA hip hop and Oakland hip hop are completely different cultures. I'll never, even though LA is where I'm from, I'll never go around and say, man, all of California hip hop is LA culture. No, the fuck it ain't. What we do in hip hop and what Oakland cats do in hip hop is completely different. Completely different. That's why you got to go back to the root of black music, the blues, the jazz, the R&B. That's the root of hip hop. And out of that, each city, each region has its own unique expression of hip hop. What's up, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
ADC out of Houston.
What's your name, my brother?
So you talked about cross region making the music better. LL Cool J had DJ Battlecat.
Yeah. Yeah, he had Battlecat. Yep.
I got a question for you about beatboxing. When people like Missy Elliott make those sounds in her music, is that not considered beatboxing?
Mm-hmm, yeah, it is. Beatboxing generally was a layer. If you listen to Earth, Wind and Fire, Maurice White beatboxed a lot. Listen to the song like On Your Face. Maurice White he will beatbox to underline a lot of the music for Earth, Wind and Fire. And from that, Michael Jackson would too. Listen to Day and Night. Day and Night is Michael Jackson beatboxing. He would beatbox, and a lot of that stuff comes from ham boning. The original drums is hitting the body, ham boning, and hitting the body, and beatboxing. So yeah, we've been doing that.
Okay, that's all I had. Appreciate it.
For sure, man. Thanks. You have a good one.
Later.
Yeah, that's why. That's the reason I'm always putting hip hop in hip hop. Y'all got too much dip in y'all chip. Y'all didn't create hardly none of this shit. I said Battlecat. I meant Bobcat. My bad. I said Battlecat. Excuse the dyslexia. I did a video yesterday where I said Harvey Mason Jr. and I meant Harvey Mason Sr. Like Harvey Mason Jr. wasn't even born when the music. He's the head of the Grammys now, but I meant his dad, Harvey Mason Sr. But I watched the replay of the video. I said Harvey Mason Jr. Yeah, beatboxing adds texture. It's a grounding. It gives a grounding effect to the music. It assists the drums. I'm gonna find an app to isolate some sounds and do some incense and ashtrays to where I can isolate. Listen to this song right here.
And we won't go.
Okay. When right here. If you listen underneath on that song, you'll hear Maurice White. Boom, 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 boom. He's beatboxing the full melody. He beatboxes the melody underneath. Real low. You got to listen real close. You'll hear Maurice White beatboxing underneath. He's beatboxing the melody and the rhythm and singing on top of it. Yeah, On Your Face is the shit. That's one of the greatest songs ever. You ever want to listen to a song that really lifts you up? Listen to On Your Face by Earth, Wind & Fire. Ain't it funny how the way you feel shows on your face? And no matter how you try to hide, it states the case. Now, frown will bring your spirits down all the way to a ground and never let you see the good things all around. Every time we seem to let our feelings flow, our luck runs out and the wind won't blow. But that can't make me, just can't make me sad. 'Cause I've been here before. Don't want to go no more. Won't let them take me, won't let them drive me mad. Sadness bears no remedy for the problems in your life. While you run your race, keep a smiling face. Help set your pace. But it's said with such great vocal harmonies. While you run your race, keep a smiling face. Come on, that's the greatest music ever, Earth, Wind & Fire. And Michael was most definitely a beatboxer. Yeah, support the Black American Music Family Tree Historical Foundation. Y'all see the where it says donate, and then you can also get your Black American Music Family Tree at DeWanB.com. And tonight we're going to do a dedication to Bernie Worrell. You go to DeWanB.com, get a framed Black American Music Family Tree. The same thing you see right here. You can join the giveaway. Or if you don't want to wait for the giveaway, go on over here. And we are set up with Afterpay and Affirm. So you can get whatever you need in 2-4 payments. But you want to get this Black American Music Family Tree canvas and have it on your wall. Because it's probably the best way you're going to teach music history without telling somebody to read a whole book. That's why I did this. So you wouldn't have to read a whole book to get the information. Although I am writing a whole book to give you deeper information. This will be my last caller today. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
This is Donald from Los Angeles, California. Can you hear me,
yes,
brother?
Sir. What's on your mind, my brother?
Oh yeah, man. It's funny you saying all this stuff because, like, when they say New York is hip hop culture, they usually doing that to try to segue the other races in to claim it.
Right.
They live in New York.
Right.
So they trying to use that proximity argument, saying that just because you live in New York, all of a sudden it's also your culture and stuff like that. Even though all the stuff that they use to build that culture basically comes from somewhere else.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm
right.
saying? It comes from other cities, and that's their way. And it's messed up because that's how you mess up Black American history.
Right.
Because you alienate all the people that you use and all the elements and not giving them glory or what, so not to the point where now you want to say, now they're going to say jazz is New York culture or funk is New York culture and all that other shit. So they do that all the time. And unfortunately, there's a lot of tethers in New York or so-called Pan-Africanists that be saying that nonsense.
And the Pan-African, like people can say, like we can talk about tethers all day, but them Pan-Africanists, not all, but a lot of them are just as dangerous as a tether. Not all Pan-Africans, not all immigrants, but the ones who buy into that shit, they're equally dangerous.
I think the problem is that, the Black immigrants, they don't understand. They don't know what the difference between a Black immigrant and a tether is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's two differences. The tether is basically like the foreign coons or what so not. We ain't talking about the immigrants, but you know, like you said, man, they always want to go to belt for them anyway before they go to belt from us. And like I always used to tell people, because they used to always talk down on West Coast music, saying that it's regional. I'm like, dude, all music is regional. Because all music is based upon that environment. So you're getting the understanding of that environment, of their slang culture, talk, and lingo. You know what I'm saying? So of course it's not gonna resonate with you first because you ain't from here, just like I'm not from the South. But like you said, you gotta be open minded to it, and that's their problem. Like you said, some of these folks, they just not part of the family. So if they not part of the family, they're not going to understand. Like for example, I listen to down south music. I barely go to the South like that, but I understand their culture, and I understand that that's Black American music just practiced in a different region. So it's crazy, and I hate to say it. You is right about that. Cause I listen to hip hop. I fuck with hip hop heavy.
Yeah, DJ Vegas.
But
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
But because I mess with hip hop heavy, and you right, they do that. They act like all these stuff don't come from the streets. No, all these music genres that you like, from rock and roll and country and all that stuff, comes from the streets. Even the music, rock and roll, was started by a slang term for basically intercourse. You know, you want to go to the crib and rock and roll.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. Hence to the term rock you to sleep, when they use basically for intercourse. You know what I mean? Not to sound too perverted on your podcast. So it's a lot of this stuff is started by slang terms and street terms on the street. It just wasn't as prevalent, or it just didn't have the same aesthetic that it did back then, but it was still street culture, operating on the streets with slang around those certain people, reflecting that environment. And then when it started going into the white kids in the suburbs and stuff like that, that's when you start seeing the difference. But yeah, all these genres is definitely made in the streets, from the jazz, which is a lot of New York rappers, including rappers from my city, use with the jazz rap and the jazz slang. Even the lokes and the glasses that we wear, a lot of jazz musicians is wearing that.
Right.
All them sunglasses and what's so not. So a lot of this stuff come from the streets, and I'll be having to educate them like, nah, bro, all Black American music come from Black American street urban culture, whether you like it or not. But that's all I just wanted to say. I'm gonna let you go ahead, man, because I don't want to overtalk you, and I know everybody else got something to say, man. But I just want to say
Thanks
that.
again for this call, my brother. Thank you. He right.
No problem, brother.
Yes, it was the Individuals Card Club, DJ Vegas. And Sunday, I'm dropping my interview with the Individuals Card Club. The first, talking about Roger Clayton, the first to tuck wheels, the first to reinforce frames. I interviewed and I talked to those brothers for a little bit this past week. So you will get the story directly from the president of the Individuals Card Club, where he talks about Roger Clayton being the first to tuck the wheels. See, I got smart people in the comment section too. I don't have only dumbasses in my comment section. I got some smart motherfuckers too. Yeah, like I said, it's not a big. You got no difference between a tether and an immigrant. Immigrants and tethers. I've said it before. My Black American Music Family Tree Historical Foundation has my homeboy that's from the Caribbean. He's one of my board members on my foundation. Why? Because he gets it. He understands. He is completely who he is. And he has respect for who we are. And he loves his culture. And because of that, we have a great working relationship. This man used to count my money when I used to do my stand-up comedy shows. He used to be able to cash box it and never came up short one time. I'm the first to tell you all immigrants ain't tethers. I'm looking for my thing. I can't find it. I'm the first one to tell you all immigrants ain't tethers. But just because I personally have a good relationship with an immigrant that's really, really good and hella cool, I'm not going to be that coon ass nigga talking about something. No, because I got one friend that's really cool. Everybody's cool. No, everybody's not cool. Everybody's not cool. The same way every Black American is not cool. Your color don't make you cool. Where you come from don't make you cool. What makes you cool is your actions. Your deeds is what makes you cool. How you interact with people. Do you show love? Do you give love? Do you receive love? Do you have confidence in yourself? Do you love yourself first? You can't love me if you don't love you. So if you don't love your culture, how in the hell can you love mine? But at the same time, I ain't come from no damn Africa. I didn't follow my genealogy. My genealogy traces right back to here. If there's some Africans in my bloodline, I ain't found them yet. But I found plenty of people that are here in America going back to the 1600s. And none of those people that I found in the 1600s got off of a boat. You hear me? None of those ancestors I have back in the 1600s that I found came here off of a boat. If your family came off of a boat, then roll with it. Because there are some Africans that came here during the transatlantic slave trade, but it was also a lot of people that were prisoners of war from internal Indian wars going on here in America that got sold off and shipped into slavery. And I have all the documentation to prove it, so please don't argue with me on that. I'm going to take one more call. What's up, Carl? What's the name? Where you calling from?
What's up, man? What to do? This is Rose. How you feeling?
What up, my brother? What's on your mind?
Well, I appreciate you having this talk as always. I think when it comes to hip hop, as far as lost it, I remember when hip hop, well, I guess you could say second generation, around 82. It dropped 72, but around 82 was when, it kind of like started spreading outside the boroughs and all that. And when I first heard it, like you, I heard blues. I heard blues. I heard new age blues. That's what I called it. But I also remembered that the black people around me was calling it nigga shit, and they were calling it a fad at the time. So it was nigga shit, and it was a fad. And this was also during a time when black people didn't say the N word. You know what I'm saying? This was before N.W.A. So black people didn't say the N word, and then they did say it. It kind of whispered because the history was still attached to it. I think what it is that due to us being as new as we are with putting ourselves together, hip hop being a conglomerate, a cultural conglomerate of all of our social expressions and, everything basically, contributing into a large presentation of it. We didn't know the value of it. And the value that most people put to it was what, outside communities gave to it. We want enough for us. If we would have been enough for us and would have stuck to our integrity, our cultural integrity, that we, in all graciousness, we were still building. We're still building now, hell, you know what I mean? But I think we just didn't know what we was. These Peckerwoods created a diamond race of a people, or had us to create a diamond race of a people of ourselves, and everything is enhanced. Everything about us that we do, that we think everybody else do, is enhanced in the eyes of everybody else. But to us, we just doing us. We're not trying to be cool. We are cool. We're not trying to be, none of those descriptions or adjectives that anyone can apply to us. We're not trying to be. We just are that. And I think, the earlier cats, they didn't know. There's no way that they could have known. We would have had it known as a culture. And I'll leave off on that.
All right, man. Thanks for getting us a call. Yeah, that's an issue that we've had going back for a few hundred years. That's why we're in a powerless position that we're in right now. The jazz guys didn't know what they had. The blues guys didn't know what they had. Then we started country western. How country western started was a white man going throughout the South paying $5 for a copyright for songs. And then A.P. Carter did that. Then A.P. Carter and his sisters, Maybelle Carter, and they would remember the melodies and come back, and your first country western songs were just black people basically giving away. And then when we do figure out and get the value of it, they change the rules. Fats Domino, when Fats Domino saw he wasn't getting paid, this is what Fats Domino did. Fats Domino was, we gotta give ourselves credit as black people, because we're not slow. They change the rules, we get lost for a little bit, then we figure it out. Fats Domino figured it out 100 years ago. 90 years ago. So what Fats Domino would do, since he saw that they didn't like playing black artists, all the publishing houses in New York were in one building. So if Fats Domino, not Fats Domino, I keep saying Fats Domino. That's New Orleans. I'm gonna get right to you, caller. Fats Waller. What Fats Waller would do is Fats Waller would go and he would compose like the same song, but make slight different changes to it, 10 different songs. And he would go to that one building in New York and sell each version of the song to all the different publishers. And then they would rush and get it put on the radio, and then the other one to get it put on the radio, and then be a bigger fight. Like, hold on, that's our song. That's our song. And the other one would be like, no, that's my song. Then the other publisher would be like, no, that's my song. Then they figured out Fats Waller was just writing a bunch of different versions of the same song and selling each one to different publishers. And that's what a lot of these non-compete clauses that are in contract right now, those contracts are in there now to where the reason why artists can't go to different places is because Fats Waller was composing 10 different versions of the same song and selling all 10 and making the record labels fight it out. That's how cold he was. So every time we figure it out, they change the rules. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
Ray calling from New York.
What's the name, my brother?
So you're saying who divided hip hop, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna speak from a man on the ground perspective, and I'm gonna keep it short as possible. So I was between both coasts, from like the late '80s, '90s, and all that stuff. Now I'll be honest, it started out east, and that's only because it was they were territorial. That was like their golden goose. You know, and who's gonna give up their golden goose? Nobody, right? But then we can't.
New Yorkers, they got to own that.
What's that?
I said New Yorkers got to own that because all the other black culture gave up their golden goose to the rest of the culture. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's like, and the thing about it, we were beating it down trotting at that time, as you already know.
Yeah.
So it was really like an ego thing, and you know, you're already at the bottom where you live, right? So now whatever you created, you're gonna be at the bottom of that. You get it? So even though that's a sign of selfishness, it's also a survival mechanism, you know? But then we can't let the West Coast off the hook because I was out West. And one thing they will always do, they'll play me an artist that they're trying to gauge my receptiveness, but they'll always play the most West Coast song from them. Like, and it was a way to test me. Instead of playing a song they know I know, like E40, the major way, like there's a song on there that I really love, and then one song is too funk for me because I'm not ready for that funk. You can't give a baby steak. You get what I'm saying? So they would do that, and then
why not?
You can't feed a baby steak?
No, I'm saying because it's not music. I mean, music ain't steak. Music is music. Like I could take the most New York funk song. I could take it.
Can I answer the question? It's because my ear was used to headset.
Yeah. I get you. I'm just fucking with you, but go ahead.
So once my homeboy put that shit on a loudspeaker in his system in his car, like we would compare songs. Like I'm not gonna name the name of the East Coast artist, but when you put their music in their sound system, it sounded totally different. Now when I got the funk that way, then yeah, I felt it. But when you're playing it on your little boom box, it's not the same. You get what I'm saying? I'm not feeling it. So and that was just a side note to what I think where the West played a role is because they had the little brother complex. Just like I got a big
Quite
brother.
honestly,
no matter what
LA didn't have a little brother complex. The West Coast understood that we had something dope. We didn't understand where the hate was coming from because that was new to music. I mean, like I'm gonna give you an example. New Orleans created jazz, right?
Yeah.
But New Orleans people didn't try to hold on to it and be the ultimate judge. Well, were you done? And let it go. It's like it's because
but see that goes back to what I was saying. Like I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn, right? Like Google all the areas of Brooklyn, and everybody knows that's the area lowest on the totem pole, right? So that's why I said they got territorial. Like when I stepped out of my hood, I wouldn't say I was from Brownsville. I would say I'm from Harlem sometimes, and from around bougie people out west. And yeah, I was lying, but hey, who cares? You get what I'm saying? So what I said earlier, they were territorial over something they didn't know would go beyond their block, and this is all they have. You get what I'm saying? Whereas I can't really speak to the history of jazz because you know it better than me.
I'm speaking from like just being there and seeing something
Oh,
that we love.
I
go
hear you,
somewhere
but
else.
I can
Go ahead.
promise you it was worse. Do you know that Louis Armstrong was homeless at 8 years old, and he, as an 8-year-old, he had to play his trumpet or literally not eat that night. Like his conditions was way worse than anything going on in New York in the 70s.
I didn't
What's
even
his
know
name? Jelly Roll Morton started playing the piano in a whorehouse at the age of 9, and what he would do as a 9-year-old, there was a peephole, and he would see that he would look and see them having sex through the peephole, and he would play his piano to the rhythm of the stroke as a 9-year-old. It was either play that piano to the rhythm of the stroke in his whorehouse or not eat. So the conditions was way worse. But I appreciate you for that perspective, my dog. I gotta keep it going.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks for giving us a call.
All right, take care. Later.
Yeah, like here in LA, like the reason, and I appreciate this call, but there's no comparison because LA created disco. Period. Philadelphia was our twin. Love's theme, the disco sound comes out of LA. And when New York, and it also comes out of Philadelphia. The melodies come out of LA. The floor rhythm comes out of Philadelphia. And when the biggest song in New York in 1978 was "Love Is the Message," a Philadelphia disco song, you didn't have LA gatekeeping saying, "That's our sound. We created disco. We black." LA didn't get a problem until disco went commercial and all these white acts started doing disco and the shit got electronic and weird. That's when there was a problem. But before, we wasn't going to Philadelphia saying, we created that. Ain't no fight between LA and Philadelphia over who did it first. We both did disco. Technically LA first because Love's Themes came out before The Love I Lost. But who cares? We black. We black. Who cares? Rhythm and blues. If you think I'm lying, read this book right here, The Death of Rhythm and Blues by Nelson George. In this book, it'll tell you there would be no rhythm and blues if not for LA. LA was the first city to invest in recording rhythm and blues. Rhythm and blues was recorded in LA first. LA is how rhythm and blues got legitimized nationwide. And then from LA, Chicago, New York, Atlantic Records in New York, they became the first big boy. Atlantic Records, from a Turkish man out of New York, he created Atlantic Records, was built on rhythm and blues. But rhythm and blues, Atlantic Records didn't start investing in rhythm and blues until LA showed his marketability. Do you hear LA people going around saying, R&B is the LA sound? You ain't doing R&B right. LA can really hold on to credit legitimately for R&B and disco. And not on some cool hurt shit with some nigga in the park. No, I'm talking about the dates of recordings. Stamped. No party that 50 people showed to that the story gets retold now. You hear the story now, you think 5,000 people was at the motherfucker. It ain't no mysterious party where 50 people showed up. LA got for real receipts on the foundations of rhythm and blues and disco. But you don't see us going around talking about some, well, that's really our sound. No, because it's black. That's our sound. And before one of you guys come in here and say this, because this is what happened, and I've had this happen before, people to come back and be like, well, that's because the recording industry is in LA. No. The recording industry didn't hit LA until the 60s, late 60s into the 70s. 65, 66 is when the recording industry moved to LA. And now it's for white music. Black music didn't come to LA until Motown moved here in 1972, 71. That's when black music got here. Rhythm and blues was recorded in LA in 1945. When LA established the foundation of rhythm and blues, New York and Chicago and Memphis were the homes of music being recorded. Really, New York and Chicago. To a lesser extent, Memphis. That's a fact. That's a whole fact. Now, because LA didn't have much of a recording industry, rhythm and blues took off in Chicago. Chicago was really where rhythm and blues germinated. And that's the thing with Chicago. Chicago is a hotbed for Chicago don't give itself enough credit. Chicago is where the blues got put in front of the world in Chicago. Rhythm and blues got put in front of the world in Chicago. Rock and roll got put in front of the world in Chicago. And you don't see Chicago people holding on to it. And the reason why is because we're dealing with environments that aren't jealous and divisive like that. New York, the issue of New York division goes long before hip hop. That goes back to how the five boroughs in New York were literally established through war. They don't like using that term war, but a lot of people died, didn't they? Chat room, am I wrong? Did a lot of people not die to establish the five boroughs of New York? So that borough philosophy just got imprinted on the hip hop. Since hip hop got its start in New York, the borough philosophy of New York that already existed before hip hop got imprinted on hip hop. And that's why New York is so regional with their hip hop. Is because, like I said before, music is a sound, is a sonic interpretation of your environment. And since New York was regional way before hip hop, when hip hop came through New York, it took on New York's regional problems that existed 200 years before hip hop. But it was New York and it was Atlantic Records. I mean, it's New York, LA, R&B is an LA thing. The Atlantic Records out of New York blew up as far as big time. But Chicago, Brunswick Records, Mercury Records, Chicago was really where R&B really, really took hold, was Chicago. Blues, house music, that's all Chicago. Gospel is Chicago. And Philadelphia, really, the first gospel hymn book comes out of Philadelphia in the 1800s. But the modern gospel, traditional gospel, Philadelphia. Philadelphia for traditional. Modern gospel, what we hear now, that's Chicago. What am I saying here? Every region of Black America created something gold and precious. Seattle gave us the rock and the grunge. The electric rock sound, the grunge sound, that's Seattle. Funk went pop in Oakland. The Bay Area. Yes, James Brown started funk, but James Brown was for the blacks. The thing that made funk pop was Sly and the Family Stone. Bay Area. It was out of the Bay that funk got heard worldwide. And that's why I always be like, New York got way too much dip on your chip. Calm down, sons. Calm Down, Sons. Hell, St. Louis got a lot of St. Louis, Kansas City, swing and bebop is Kansas City. Although Fletcher Henderson had the first big band out of New York, the swing sound comes out of Kansas City. Bebop. Bebop is one of the 5 most important genres existed that was invented over the last century. Because bebop is in everything. Bebop is in bossa nova, it's in Latin jazz, it's in hip hop, it's in rock. And bebop comes out of Kansas City. America would be completely different had Kansas City not given us bebop. Somebody said the king of R&B. There's no king of R&B. And Louis Jordan is not from Chicago. If you think R. Kelly's the king of R&B, you have a very poor understanding of R&B music. I love R. Kelly, but if he's your king of R&B, and I ain't got nothing to do with his little cases or whatever, I don't give a shit about his cases. If you put R. Kelly ahead of Ronald Isley, something wrong with you. The Isley brothers, Smokey, right? You put R. Kelly ahead of Smokey Robinson? What? Put R. Kelly ahead of Marvin Gaye? What? What are you talking about here? No. No. Ain't nobody that came after 1979 the king is shit. If anybody's a king, I don't believe in kings of any genre, but if you're gonna put somebody at the top of any genre, they better have come out before 1979. Ain't nobody that came out after 1979 and only even on the top tier of black music. Bobby Brown's not the king of the stage. Bobby Brown ain't no Nicholas Brothers. Bobby Brown's great for his time, but Bobby Brown ain't the Nicholas Brothers. He not Cab Calloway. Again, black people got to know y'all music history. Now, you never called Bobby Brown the king of the stage if you knew who Cab Calloway was. If you understood the Nicholas Brothers. You would never put, do people really understand Nat King Cole? And how important Nat King Cole is and what he did? Do niggas really understand Nat King Cole? No. Rick James came out really early, initially in the early 70s, but Rick James, 77, 78, Stone City Band. There's nobody that came out after 1979 that's on top of anything. Prince came out in 79. 79 people, 79 was the year that the industry changed. Matter of fact, I might do a show on 1979 because that's when the economy of music changed. And 1979 was the first year that music ever took a loss. And after music took that big old loss in 1979, they rechanged and rewrote the rules of music, and the structure of music was later on starting to really got destroyed after 1979. But you can't put anyone post 1979 ahead of any of the top guys pre 1979. You're right. It's levels and layers to this, Sean Capri. Real talk, brother. There's levels to this. As I said, New Edition is the best R&B group ever. No, New Edition is at the top of when R&B started to decline. They're at the top of. They're like when you're on a roller coaster and you get to the top and you're over the top, but the rest of the roller coaster ain't caught up yet. So you in the front seat is going down, but you ain't going fast yet because the back of the roller coaster is still going up. That's New Edition is right there at the top of the roller coaster. When the back car of the roller coaster gets to the top and starts going down, New Edition's at the front of the roller coaster when the back car gets to the part where it's going down and there's a free fall. There lies New Edition. Right when the ride starts going fast at the top, but it's still near the top, but it's going down fast, there lies New Edition. Can't put New Edition on the level of the Dramatics. Hell no. The Temps, the Manhattans, the Spinners, the Isley Brothers, no. New Edition ain't no Spinners. They ain't no Isley Brothers. And they dope. They great. I met Bobby Brown. Dope as hell. All right, this is pretty gonna be my last call, then I'm gonna get up out of here. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
What's good? I'm in North.
What's your name, my brother?
Official Poetic. Say it again?
Yes, sir. I say yes, sir. What's on your mind, my brother?
Just wanted to comment about the I've been tuning in for a little bit. So to answer your question, who divided hip hop? In my opinion, as a hip hop artist and fan myself, I would say the fans divided hip hop.
Go ahead, brother.
The fans
expound.
The fans in general.
Okay.
Would you agree with that?
What I said earlier was the fans followed the magazine started the bullshit and the stuff, but the fans had a choice to not follow along and the fans chose to still be susceptible. So the fans most definitely deserve blame in this. They most definitely deserve part of the blame because me personally, I saw when the magazine did it, I just didn't buy into it, but I saw everyone around me did. So the fans do deserve some blame.
Got you. And so why you think artists don't stick to their original style,
It's
and
Clive
just be
Davis.
themselves?
Clive Davis, his style. That's why Clive Davis is so important to talk about. When his style of governance over record labels came in, they made you who they said you were. You know what I mean? After the post-Clive, because it wasn't Tommy Mottola did the same thing, but when that philosophy, the Clive Davis philosophy, exacerbated all throughout music, and the record labels started telling artists, "This is who you are." And but it goes before Clive Davis. It was always around in some ways, but by the time you get to the 90s, and especially by the time you get to the Telecommunications Act of 1996,
right,
everything, the distribution of music got funneled into just 4 or 5 companies. And so once it got funneled into 4 or 5 companies, they were then able to call the shots. Whereas before, if you get pulled into something like that, you can leave and go somewhere else and still have a shot. But post Telecommunications Act, there was nowhere else to go. So it's kind of a hand-in-hand thing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I just wish hip hop would return to where it used to be, 90s, 2000s, early 2000s,
Yeah, but that's going to have to happen. That's why it's a beautiful thing that when the record label said that they getting out of the hip hop business, I say great. Because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take the record labels to get up out of it. And it's going to take, going back to your point, you made a good point. It's going to go back to us as listeners to stop repeating, oh, my favorite rapper sold 1 million albums, and my favorite albums, their first week had 40,000 sales. We as listeners shouldn't give a fuck about the numbers because 1, we ain't getting paid. 2, the artists ain't hardly getting paid from the numbers either. The main person getting paid is some dude in a suit. But we be the ones talking about, ooh, that song was just 17 weeks on the chart. Yeah, because they paid for it. We got to get out of the numbers and charts and get into the music. That's what it's going to take. The fans to say F the charts, F the numbers. Is this song hot or not? That's all that matters. Like we used to be. All right, dog?
Yeah. All right,
Thanks
cool.
for getting us
Appreciate you letting me call in. I love these type of, conversations and topics. So you live every, what's today? Wednesday?
Almost every day.
You live every,
I would say
every
5
day?
to 6 days a week I go live. I always take one day off.
Okay. All right. Bet. I'm gonna tune in.
All right, dog. You have a good one.
All right, you too.
Yeah, when the fans started buying in all that, ooh, something such and such went to #1. Who gives a fuck? The only #1 that matters is it #1 in your heart? Does a song make you feel good? That's what makes a song #1. What makes a song #1 is, do it make you feel good? You dig what I'm saying? This song never went #1. It's not even one of Barry White's most popular songs, but it makes me feel good. I don't know where this shit. I don't know where this shit started. I don't know where that shit started. Where it charted.
Give me an answer for each one.
I don't know where that went, but when Barry White hits this change, this ain't even a popular Barry White song, but it's my #1 because I love this change right here.
Girl, can you see? It's love I need.
Those violins, ooh, that change, ooh, that shit feel good. So what's #1 to me? That song is #1. That's what's #1. And then when I'm done playing some Barry White, you know what else is #1 out of New York? Cameo. This might be #1 next. Spark, yeah. That song was #1. And then when I'm done with that song being #1, I'm going to jump over into Chicago and I'm going to listen. I'm going to jump over to Chicago and listen to the Dale.
I'd never let you go. Love is protection. And
that's #1.
Always together. Just you.
That's #1. Then you know what's #1 after that? Man, the next #1 song is this right here. Then I'm listening to some Denise Williams. I need you so I can feel you. That's #1. And I don't know where none of these goddamn songs went on the chart. I can't tell you. You know what's #1? Baby. When I'm feeling when I'm feeling it. That's I'm gonna jump to Chicago and listen to some dramatics. That's #1. Be my girl. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Excuse my singing. And then you know what's gonna be #1 after that? You know what's gonna be #1 after that? This gonna be #1. This ain't even one of their popular songs. I love it, nigga. This gonna be #1 after that.
We making the crowd move, but we not making no G's, and that's a no. A 1, 2, dope.
And then that's #1. And then you know what's gonna be #1 after that? What's gonna be #1? I'm about to play this shit when I'm done with y'all.
Yeah, you got it.
Nigga, oh, that wasn't the song I wanted. I wanted to play Crumbling Herb. Niggas killing niggas they don't understand. I'm just crumbling herb. I'm just crumbling herb. I love Chicago music, bruh. I was playing this. I was on my grill yesterday, bumping this shit like a motherfucker.
My daughter found Nemo. I found a new cream.
I was in Chicago yesterday on my grill.
Why white folk focus on dogs and yoga? My people on the low end trying to ball and get over.
Man, that's #1 to me. Goddammit. Fuck your #1. Fuck #1. The only thing that matters is, do you like it? Do it move you? And when we as listeners get back to that point, all the rest of that shit goes somewhere else. All right. Damn numbers, damn sales, damn charts. Charts are for people who are not from the culture. Let's get back tonight. In 3 hours, we will be on Mixcloud, Twitter, and Patreon. Go to Patreon because Patreon is where the archive is going to be. But it will be free to everybody on Mixcloud, Twitter, and Patreon live. The live dedication to Bernie Worrell will be free. The replay will be a Patreon exclusive. All right. Y'all have a good one. We out.